Welcome to this explainer. If you are the kind of focused learner who absolutely loves tearing into complex, fascinating texts piece by piece, well, you're in the right place. Today, we're unpacking a incredibly dense, multi-layered lyric called Commandments of the Salt and Light. Now, it's a short text, but don't let that fool you. There is so much packed in here. It weaves together modern self-empowerment, ancient religious law, and some pretty sharp social commentary, all wrapped in a tight, rhythmic package. We're going to deconstruct the author's argument step by step to see exactly how these themes collide. So let's get into it because there's a lot of brilliant structure to uncover here.
Okay, let's just dive right in and hit the rhythmic hook that anchors the entire piece from the very first breath. Let your light shine, 'cause we the salt of the earth. The author doesn't waste a single syllable getting to the core message here. We're instantly hit with two massive elemental metaphors, light and salt. And these aren't just pretty words, right? They're commands and identity markers rolled into one. The author is laying down the baseline. You're meant to project something bright outward, and fundamentally, you are made of something essential and preserving. It's just an incredibly powerful way to grab your attention right out of the gate. Section 1, the call to shine.
To really grasp how foundational this is, we just have to look at the number 3. The exact phrase, salt of the earth, is repeated 3 times right in the intro. And why does that matter? Because repetition in lyricism is literally never an accident. By hitting this phrase 3 times, the author sets up this rhythmic, almost chant-like emphasis. It drills this core identity straight into your mind. Before you get any instructions, any laws, or any warnings, you are firmly rooted in this unbreakable identity. You are the salt of the earth. But how does the author actually define this? Let's look at the exact framing. The text rhymes and connects salt of the earth directly to the birth of this earth and the command to always know your worth. It's a brilliant linguistic link. Think about it. The author takes this modern concept of self-esteem, knowing your worth, and ties it to the physical origins of the planet. It shows that your value isn't some fleeting modern trend. It's literally as old and foundational as dirt and salt. Your self-worth is an ancient earthly inheritance.
Section 2, kings, queens, and self-worth.
Now, this perfectly illustrates how the author demands that the audience recognize their royal worth. Notice the incredibly active phrasing. Keep that in mind. Real kings and queens, stand up and let your light shine. This isn't passive. You don't just sit around being a king or a queen. You have to literally stand up. The author takes that earlier instruction to let your light shine and pairs it with a physical action. It's a hugely empowering call to action. Basically, if you truly know your worth, your only natural response is to stand up and project it. Let's look a little closer at the timeline established here. This status has existed since the birth of this earth. I really want to emphasize this because the author is making a massive philosophical claim. This royal worth, it's not a modern invention. It's not handed to you by society or a job title or how much is in your bank account. It's a cosmic truth dating back to creation. By framing it like this, the author makes your self-worth totally unassailable. Nobody can take it away from you because nobody gave it to you in the first place.
Section 3, keeping the divine commandments.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? The author lays out a really specific 3-step formula for staying ahead and showing devotion. Step 1, put in the work so you can stay ahead. That's active, daily effort. Step 2, remember the laws and statutes given to his kids. This requires historical and doctrinal memory. Step 3, keep the commandments. This whole structure is fascinating because it pivots from a general hustle mindset straight into highly specific religious obedience. You can't just casually shine your light without also strictly remembering and keeping these exact laws. And to understand why these rules carry so much weight, we have to analyze the central thesis statement. The author says, calls to love the Lord is to keep his commandments. Here, they explicitly link the abstract, emotional idea of divine love directly to the tangible, rigid obedience of laws and statutes. In this worldview, love is absolutely not just a feeling. Love is an action, specifically the action of keeping the rules. If you're not keeping the rules, you aren't showing love. The author leaves absolutely zero room for ambiguity.
Section 4, the Sabbath day distinction.
Now, things get really interesting with this explicit dichotomy between cultural Sunday worship and a Saturday Sabbath. The text says, I go to church every Sunday, but the Sabbath is Saturday. The author acknowledges what everyone does culturally, going to church on Sunday, but immediately counters it with a rigid theological claim. The actual Sabbath is Saturday. It creates this intense tension between modern habits and ancient commands. The author is essentially demanding historical and theological precision from the listener.
And to back this out, they drop in a very specific chronological fact to structurally prove their argument. They state plainly, the first day is Sunday. It's basically logical proof within the text. If Sunday is day 1, then Saturday has to be day 7. And if the ancient statutes say rest on the 7th day, well, the math just doesn't support a Sunday Sabbath. The author uses basic calendar logic to prove their point about obedience, showing that true kings and queens actually care about these exact specific details.
Section 5. Rejecting the secular world. You've got to love this blunt, almost humorous juxtaposition the author sets up here. Real facts, not no Easter Bunny. It is such a stark contrast. The author is taking the profound, real facts of cosmic worth, ancient laws, and the true Sabbath, and stacking them up against modern secular traditions, which they just completely dismiss as fairy tales. No Easter Bunny. They are challenging you to choose. Are you building your life on ancient, factual statutes? Are you buying into empty, commercialized holidays?
Notice how masterfully this builds a massive contrast between the opening of the lyric and the end. On one side, we have the opening message, knowing your worth, standing up as royalty. On the flip side, we get the closing warning, being lost in this world. The author maps out two totally divergent paths. You can either stay grounded in your elemental worth and divine law, or you can drift off and become completely unmoored and lost. And what is the ultimate trap that causes you to get lost? The author doesn't hold back, delivering this heavy punchline, lost in this world while making your money. It's a sharp critique of secular capitalism and the distraction of wealth. The text suggests that chasing money is the exact thing that makes you forget your royal worth and those ancient statutes. It's the ultimate bait and switch. You trade your permanent, cosmic identity as the salt of the earth for temporary, secular financial gain. Which brings us to one final, really provocative question that sums up the core dichotomy of this entire piece. Are we standing up as kings and queens, or are we just getting lost making money? The author starts by telling us to shine because of our immense, ancient worth, but finishes with a really dire warning about the distractions of modern wealth. It forces us to reflect on our own priorities. Are we sticking to the real facts of our foundational identity, or have we let the daily grind for cash completely dim our light? It's a powerful, challenging way to end, and it definitely sticks with you. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep digging into the text.